Hi, everyone.
Hello, hi.
Hello.
Still an agenda for today, or
With the date.
Since Henry didn't come today.
Mhm.
So this is Rob Maines. So yes, you guys are all correct that this is the correct date and time. I don't know what the agenda is for the meeting, but I'm just here as an observer to learn, so to speak.
sure. Is Michael going to join? Like, is
Let me see. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Michael should join shortly, but he's traveling, so he might not be able to lead the meeting. I think that we should wait for Henry. I'm not sure if he's joining.
Okay.
If someone can try to ping him, that would be nice. I don't have direct contact to him, but I think that
I'll
he
send
should
him.
be sharing.
I will send him an email.
Okay, great. And I will ask Michael in a minute. He should be able to join, but he won't be able to lead today.
great? Thanks, Thomas.
All right, I sent them both an email.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello. Hello. Sorry, I'm running a little bit late. Let me pull up the meeting notes. Alrighty, so it looks like we do have quorum. All right. I think as far as the agenda goes, we can either continue the working group structure conversation. I don't think we have any new applications to review. And I don't think any new, so there are no new members either. Let's see. Yeah, I did not send out a survey about the new meeting time, so I still need to do that. This CLA enforcement topic, any update on that? I think Henner said he would maybe talk to Brian about it.
Test. Say it again. My browser just kicked out.
Yeah, I hear you now and did not hear you before.
CLA. Haven't done anything yet. I was swamped with other things, and I mean, things are working. It seems that someone, probably from my organization, I don't know, enable the CLA enforcement for the Google CLA on variable, which is which kind of was an original Google project. So I don't know where that happened. I need to find that out. But yeah, I was swamped with other things to actually implement something, and yeah, what was not too much looking into organizational things.
I do think it has been turned on for some number of repositories.
Yeah.
All right. I think as far as this work groups document goes, I think we've got descriptions for most of them at this point. So, yeah, I don't know if if someone thinks you're running a work group that's actively meeting and has a regular meeting time and is not in this list, you should definitely go and do that before we push the information to the web page.
Hi, Henry. I'm Joyang from
Oh, hi, Young.
from China. Yeah.
Yep.
I have a question. Is possible to schedule a rockchip meeting
Okay.
maybe 1 month or 2 week?
Sure.
Yeah. I think it is necessary to rework on this. We have discussed this before.
Mhm. Yeah. Do you want to propose a time for that?
Time for you. Maybe you can decide. Anytime is okay for me. From day
Okay.
to night. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. We'll get that decided and posted along with yeah.
And another thing is PLCT Lab under China Academy of Science. We have joined CHIPS Alliance as code member. So it's possible for PLCT to have a TSC member seat at CHIPS Alliance.
Yeah. So the way that works is the TSC seats are based on project status.
Yeah.
So I think what we need to do is get one of the projects that PLCT is going to manage to the graduated status.
Sure.
So I think like diplomacy would be a good example. So I think if we want to make it a co-scheduled diplomacy and rocket ship meeting.
Yeah.
And so one of the things that we could work on is filling out the like the rest of the application to make diplomacy a graduated project.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
I say so. Our team are working at diplomacy documentation and unit test. After this, I think we can try to publish the diplomacy project to Maven repository, but this needs some help from Chips on Ice.
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah, that's another thing that needs to be worked on.
So which person I should talk to?
So Brian is still, I think, the person who we need to get Chips Alliance registered with Sonatype so that artifacts can be published to Maven from Chips Alliance. And that was something that he said he would work on, but I haven't gotten an update. Maybe that's something that you could follow up with him on. He's on he's not here today, but he's on the Slack channel.
I will direct message him.
Yeah. And I know this is something that Jack Koenig from the Chisel Group is also interested in being able to do. So,
yeah.
all right. Did anyone have any further thoughts on this work group structure?
And another thing is about turning. I'm not so sure it is related to Chips on Ice. Can we discuss here?
I mean, the status there is that the Omni Extend
so
document is that's the active Chips Alliance project.
I see. So Turning won't be hosted on Chips Alliance. Is that true?
The implementation of TileLink in Rocket Chip is a Chips Alliance project in that it's part of the Rocket Chip project. But yeah, I don't think there's going to be a TileLink specification working group at Chips Alliance.
I see.
So I think further development as far as the Rocket Chip implementation goes, I think is a good thing to discuss at the Rocket Chip working group.
Okay, we can discuss there.
Yeah.
And we'd like to donate one of my projects. Can I add some line to this documentation?
Yeah, sure.
Second. Maybe send this link to chat.
Sure.
I didn't find this link.
Yeah, I'm happy to help you with whatever needs to happen for that on GitHub, if anything. And then, if you want it to be sort of recognized as its own project, you should submit another one of those sandbox applications.
Yeah, we'll do this. Where's
my chat? Did you send it to the chat?
One Oh, 1 second. Yeah. This one, I want publish it to Chips Alliance, asthmatic library based on Tresol, which is formally verified, and we like to have a small IP, a small high performance digital IP replacement to some commercial software like some Synopsys Design or something.
Sorry, can you say that last part again? What is that? Is that what you're planning to do, or what you're hoping will happen? What you're hoping the library will be used for? Or
we think this library is good for some really high performance digital IP, and originally those IP will be vended by commercial tools like Synopsys Designware or something else. So we like to create a high performance digital IP generator with Tresol to make maybe RISC-V cores to depend on this library to give some implementations with either multiplier or some divider like this. We will work on the arithmetic tools and crypto tools and float point tools. These are pretty small but pretty important in the data path.
How would you say it compares to the, I don't know, the floating point implementation that's in RocketShip right now?
We just we compared it, and it provides some better performance and the PPA to hard float because the divider are better, and we have handwritten 1s3 multiplier, and this will provide a better PPA than hard float, I think.
That's great.
Yeah.
All right. Does anyone else have any topics they'd like to propose?
One thing that Michael actually started after our last meeting is he came up with the idea to write a blog note about what is happening in Chips Alliance in the TSC. So he wanted to write a blog note about all the projects that are already accepted, and asked all of us to write a few sentences about the projects that we came to the TSC with. So maybe just a reminder that would be nice if everyone could write a few sentences. It doesn't have to be long. It's just to generate some enthusiasm around Chips Alliance, as Michael wrote in his email. I think that yeah, we would value more input on that to write some kind of a blog note summing up what is happening around Chips Alliance.
Yeah. Do you how do you want it? How are you planning to collect the the notes? Do you want, is that in an email chain somewhere, or is there a Google
Uh,
Doc? It's different than this work group stock, right?
Yes, exactly. And it was Michael who sent that email to the mailing list, the TSC mailing list. I think that Michael is going to write the whole note himself, but he wants a summary for each of the projects that are graduated in at the moment. And it would be best if all the leaders, let's say, of each project write a few lines about their projects there in that doc that Michael sent in his email. And then I think he and I will probably help him, will take over and create a full note that is worth posting. But it would be nice if everyone can give some input about their projects.
Hey, Thomas, is there a structure to the doc? Was there anything? I don't have it handy, but just wondering.
Not really. At the moment, it's just a list of tools or projects, let's say, and literally a few sentences and maybe some screenshots were applicable. So it really doesn't have to be anything long. It better not be long. It's just to create a nice summary of what is happening. I think that was the idea about this block note.
Sure.
I think that I can ask Michael to send a follow-up email in the thread he started to with a reminder maybe.
Yeah, I just found the link to it, so I'll put that here too in the Google Doc. All right. Well, I think the other major outstanding topic is that the CHIPS Alliance board right now is discussing kind of the strategic direction that they want the alliance to go in over the course of 2022. So that involves figuring out, you know, stuff like what the budget is going to be, but it also involves, you know, I think part of brainstorming about either new projects or working groups to encourage, and also I think collaboration between existing projects, or potentially finding showcase projects that combine elements from multiple projects. So I don't know if that's something that you all would also be interested in brainstorming about, but I think kind of maybe and Rob might be able to add a little more flavor to this as well, but I think the in general ideas about, you know, yeah, I don't know, potential collaborations is something that they would appreciate.
Yeah, I can speak to it a little bit if you want, if you'd like, Henry.
Sure.
Yeah, so what I'm trying to do is to establish a strategy / roadmap for 2022. And I think in particular, when we discussed this at last Friday's meeting, was coming up with the concept of kind of an umbrella project, if you will, that has interests both in terms of companies and also universities and how collaboration can occur. So a couple of ideas were put forward in the context of that conversation. One was the idea that Zvonimir Bandik from Western Digital has been proposing, which is a crypto wallet, which possibly would use like a Pico RV32 core or something along those lines. And, you know, maybe FPGA is part of that. So that was one area we had discussed. And we were also in conversations with a foundry provider about, you know, providing us with some test shuttle sites. So that could be something. We also talked about, you know, the collaboration work on a DDR4 controller as another idea. There is already work ongoing that relative to Ant Micro, Google, and Wavius, which is a chiplet based startup in San Diego, as some of you may know. We then also discussed the idea about having some type of contest or a call for ideas for different areas where CHIPS could fund and establish a budget, separate of the operating budget of CHIPS, but that would allow for awarding of monetary funds, so to speak, to ideas and establishing milestones to track progress on those also. I think another key part of this overall too is providing an opportunity for showcasing or exemplifying work that is being done in the open source tooling area. Excuse me for a minute, I need to get this call.
Actually, in PSCT, we have started crypto RV core project, aiming to tape out next year, and it can be used as a JPG K, what UBK did. And I think this is a good project, which can leverage the diplomacy project.
Mhm. So is it can you talk about the scope of it a little more? Is it a particular like RTL design, or is it
Yes, we are going
software?
to.
Is there a software component as well?
Yes, we are going to use the rocket chip, but we might modify the rocket RTL, maybe a forked version, but we will focus on tuning and the diplomacy, maybe fork a rocket core with 32 bits. And then we will implement a USB controller and also one second, and to DMA USB to SPI flash or some memory protocol, and then we will create a crypto library based on MMM and some RISC-V K extension, using this to as our hardware implementation, and then use open source core means canopy. I can send this to you. And we will use this project as our software libraries and to flash maybe binary to this core.
Yeah, that sounds like a pretty appealing project.
Yes, and we have some interns working on DDR controller and the PCIe controller, try to drive the Xilinx IP with their handwriting RTL written in Chisel. Yeah.
Sorry, for what was that? What was that last bit implementing?
We will try to use Chisel to implement hardware DDR controller and the PCIe controller, and try to drive them drive the Linux file.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Yep, that's a big project.
Yeah.
But that would I think that would be very I think a lot of people would be interested in that.
I'm back, by the way. I apologize for that.
Yeah. I think you were talking, so Zhao Young gave us a summary of a project that PLCT is working on. It's a YubiKey equivalent thing. So it definitely seems sort of in that crypto wallety sort of space as well. So that might be
Relevant, maybe.
yeah, that might be relevant to one of the umbrella project ideas. I think Zhao
It
Young,
looks like it. Go ahead.
yeah,
Sorry.
I think I think at the moment, I think that looks like it's going to, you know, be based off of or forked off of the rocket ship code base. So, but I think figuring out how that can include either some other projects and probably some other PLCT projects. So I think kind of either bringing those into Chips Alliance or talking about how some of the other Chips Alliance tools can be used to help out with this project would probably be a good way of making it even more of an umbrella.
Yeah. And we are using Vernita as our simulator. We benchmark the Verilog based simulator, and we found maybe 90% of time are wasting on wise infer flow, and that takes up most of the compile time. So we have another intern working on the fertile front end of Vernita, which might perhaps fertile and chisel environment with Vernita. Speed up maybe.
Yeah, that's a pretty interesting interaction.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds like, that sounds like it might be a good project for me to learn more about and see if there's potential collaboration, with Chips Alliance members.
Yeah. I mean, so Fertile is like a project in the Chisel working group. It's basically the intermediate representation of hardware that the Chisel compiler emits, and then gets operated on and transformed into Verilog. So I think what Zhao Young is saying is they have someone who is working on making the Verilog that Fertile emits more Verilator compatible, or like emitted in such a way so as to produce better Verilator performance.
We are try to have write another Vernita front end, so just bypass the Verilog pass. Just go to the scheduler and the emit C process, because
does Verilator have like a standard front end representation that's
no.
that it's parsing the Verilog into, or
they just pass the Verilog and go to some transforms and generate the backend, but deliver to scheduler. So we are trying to cut the transforms and try to consume Fertile directly, because the most of time we stayed at the weights infer transform in Vernita, but in Fertile all the weights are norm. So if we just have another Fertile front end in Vernita, we can make the Vernita time much faster.
I see. So this, rather than being a change to Fertile to emit different Verilog, this is a change to Verilator.
Yes.
To accept Fertile.
Yeah.
Okay, I see. Yeah, that's really interesting.
What is your approach to adding this front end to Verilator? Did you remove the regular front end from Verilator, or do you add it as a separate being that can coexist with the current front end?
Yes, we will try to give another front end implementation using based on antenna 4, and just maybe have another command line options to consume photo and then go into Verilator directly. So it won't affect Verilog thing, I believe.
Yeah, it sounds like you're trying to speed up the compilation time of producing the simulator, not the runtime performance of the simulator, right?
Yes. The runtime performance is running good now, and we have no resource working on this. That's very complicated.
Yeah, well, so I would say like just the interaction between Fertile and Verilator is already a fairly interesting umbrella project, but I assume you're using you're using this in the YubiKey. Like part of the reason you're working on this is to enable that YubiKey project. Is that right?
We want to speed up the CI process.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it sounds like maybe Rob will want to talk with you about that more in the future to sort of figure out how to maybe get other CHIPS Alliance members involved with it.
Sure.
Yeah, Jay, I'll send you a mail so we can follow up on these couple of different topics.
Joe Young. Yeah.
Joe Young.
Yeah.
Sorry, thank you.
Thank
Apologize.
Rob, did you maybe want to talk a little bit more about what you were thinking with the design contest? I think that was where we left off with your summary.
Sorry. So we were, so part of the conversation at the board meeting was about either having some type of contest or having a grant vehicle to encourage different projects. So on the contest concept, the challenge there, as I learned from Brian Warner, as he articulated in the meeting, is that different countries have different rules and regulations around contests. And in the past, when those have been sponsored by other organizations in Linux Foundation, that has been problematic, I guess is the best way to put it. So then the other idea was to create a budget to be able to fund different ideas. So do maybe like a call for ideas or proposals, and then look at trying to fund some of those, and then establish milestones, et cetera, and how to move forward with that. So that's kind of where that was. I mean, I like the idea of a contest, but I can appreciate that depending upon different countries that you go into, that can be challenges as to how that gets measured.
So
Rob, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, so there's already a design contest from the IEEE SSCS solid state circuit.
Right.
And we actually just kicked off a technical committee with Boris Merman 2 days ago. Okay. And we're trying to develop that and make it as something which is either affiliated to a big conference, like a circuit conference like ISSCC or VLSI, or even have a different conference, because there's an issue for researcher in open source community to publish, right? Like we can't publish in ISSCC or VLSI for obvious reasons. There's a lot of interest, and I was thinking, are you guys planning to do something similar in the design contest, or is it the same thing I'm talking about?
Well, it was just an idea, right? I mean, effectively, you know, it really is to try to encourage participation and collaboration, you know, with interest in the open source community. And, you know, maybe there's something that, you know, relative to chips that we need to learn in terms of governance of such a contest from IEEE as an example. I mean, I certainly know, coming from an EDA background, I know like ISPD, for example, has had different types of contests over the years.
I see. Oh yeah, I get it. So I don't know if you're familiar with the PICO contest that we've been having like for a few months now. But basically, it's a couple shuttles from eFabless Chip Ignite chips, and the winners are going to be able to tape out. And I think there would be some incentives related to that, to each group. Maybe you had something different in mind.
Mehdi, sorry, is the PICO contest that's different from the ISSCC contest you were talking about? Right?
It's the same one. It's the same one. Yeah. And
I see.
SSCS.
You know, I've been trying to schedule a meeting with Mohammed Qasim of eFabless, so let me talk to him about it too, to get some more details on, you know, how it's structured.
Sure.
Yeah, but anyway, we've just been brainstorming ideas, so it hasn't got, you know, relative to the governing board of CHIPS Alliance, we haven't taken it any further, but it sounds like, at least from your side, that there is, you know, some degree of interest in some type of contest, or perhaps, you know, joining forces with another organization to make such a thing happen. Yeah.
So actually, we are. I mean, this is the first time this is happening, and we're learning and trying to improve it. But I think it's going to be a thing in the future. So we are also looking for advisors or to the committee, technical committee, so they can. So I would be happy to nominate you, Rob, so you can provide some inputs, because it seems like it's overlapping somehow, and we can learn from each other and maybe have something in parallel or at the same time.
Sure, that makes, yeah, I'd be happy to assist on that.
Yeah, and one other thing I wanted to mention during this meeting is we're trying to look for people from Europe, because during this design contest, there was no one from Europe or China or Japan or Korea. So we're trying to, you know, have either, you know, technical community member to join from this country, or you know, some way to have this you know, population contribute to the open source community. And I'm sure there's so many, like in France and England. So yeah, I was looking for advice here from you, Rob, or anyone in the meetings, like if you guys can nominate someone who has some research background.
Is there anyone from Silicon Austria Labs or Infineon that would be interested in this in Austria or Germany?
Oh, that would be great. I mean, I don't know if there's anyone.
Well, let me do this, because I actually was just in dialogue with those folks here a little while ago, and let me just see if they might be interested in participating in this, and I can copy you on the mail.
Sure, that would be great, and then I can nominate them to the committee, and we can see if they are approved or not. Okay. But it would be really nice.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I had.
All right, thank you, Maddie. Appreciate it.
All right, well, we are just about out of time. Are there any final items anyone would like to bring up? All right, I think in that case, let's call it here. Thank you all for participating, and we'll see you soon. We're on Slack.
Henry, can you please send a survey?
Yes. Yeah. I'll go do that right now.
Perfect. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks.
Yep. Cheers.
You guys. Bye.